My mom spanked my bully. Story time. When I was in 3rd grade, I used to hate going to the bus stop because there was a boy there who would bully me. And it got so bad that some days I would go home crying. I felt like I couldn't do anything because he was much older than I was. So of course I told my mom, and she called the school and they did nothing about it. So then my mom somehow found out who his parents were and she went to go talk to them. And all they said about it was, boys will be boys, there's really nothing we can do about it. And then that's when my mom was like, if y'all don't handle it, I will. So the next morning she told me to go to the bus stop, and if my bully bothered me, to come back home and tell her. So I went to the bus stop, and of course he bothered me. So I went back home, told my mom, and she immediately grabbed her belt and dragged me back to the bus stop. She walked up to that boy and was like, "Are you bothering my son?" And the boy was like, "Yes, I am. What are you gonna do about it, Grandma?" My mom grabbed that boy by his shirt, turned him around, and started spanking him with her belt. And it was so loud. Literally got his cheeks clapped.
This is why you should never play hide and seek. A mom decided to play hide and seek with her 2 kids. The mom began counting, ready or not, here I come. She begins searching the downstairs kitchen because she knows that they hide there every single time. As she's walking to the kitchen, she starts saying, I wonder where they are. She looks under the table and sees they aren't there, which is kind of odd. She knew they were too scared to go into the basement alone, but she decided to check anyway. They weren't there either. She began to panic. The mom then says, "Jordan, Casey, come out now. Mommy's not playing anymore." There was no answer. Panic really begins to set in. She decides to call 911 and reaches an operator. She tells the operator what's wrong, and the operator sends an officer to her house. Once the officer arrives, he says, "Don't worry, we will find them." As she's sitting in the living room, she hears giggling and laughing and hears a closet door slam upstairs. She sprints upstairs and says, "Jordan, Casey, you worried me sick." She opened the closet door and nobody was there. While all of this is going on, she hears the doorbell ring. She runs downstairs and finds the officer holding Jordan and Casey. The officer says they were hiding in the shed out back. Then Jordan looks at mommy and says, "Why were you telling us to stay in the shed?"
My brother tried to flush me down the toilet. Story time. A lot of you guys already know this, but I have an older brother, and when we were younger, he was really mean to me. Not mean, but like evil, okay? So when I was a baby, I required a lot of attention, which is normal, you know, babies require a lot of attention. But my brother did not like that at all. He was used to having all the attention, but then I came around and took it from him. So he decided that he was gonna get rid of me. So one day when my mom was giving me a bath, he had asked if he could help her. And she said yes, but I secretly think she was in on his plan. Because while they were bathing me, someone knocked on the door, so my mom left me and him in the bathroom alone to go answer the door. So I guess my brother was like, now's my chance to get rid of this little turd. So he takes me out of the bathtub. I can't talk or anything yet, so I don't know what's going on. Puts me headfirst in the toilet and starts to flush. And obviously I wasn't going down, so he took the plunger and he started to plunge me down the toilet. But before he could get me all the way down, my mom walked in and saved my life. Like, I could have drowned.
Why you should be really careful how you treat people, and also why you should stick up for people. When I was in 8th grade, I was really good friends with this kid named Damon. Me, him, and this other friend of mine, we were all at the same table. In English class, we would joke around, talk about the same TV shows and movies. We were the loudest group by far. But near the end of the school year, Damon ended up moving. And it really sucked, but we said goodbye to Damon, who I should tell you was this small, short, funny, wisecracking kid. Didn't matter what you threw at him, he was super witty. So we said goodbye to him, we all went to 9th grade. It was either the end of 9th grade or the middle of sophomore year that I saw Damon again. He had transferred back to our school, saw him at a pep rally, and I was sitting by myself because I despise pep rally. He was like, "Joseph, do you remember me?" I was like, "Oh my gosh, David?" He was so much taller, face looked different, his voice was deeper. This was obviously a different kid, but really happy to see me. So we started talking, catching up. Then I started noticing that he was getting hit in the back of the head with tiny paper balls. He wasn't even flinching. I looked behind me to see 3 boys throwing paper balls at him. What? Dude, do you see what they're doing? Yeah, I'm used to it. What? This was not the same witty boy that I knew. Oh god, I'm running out of time. Watch part 2 to see my...
This is the Elmer Scoop Glassy Clear Slime. That's a tongue twister. And this one did not disappoint. I mean, I love seeing different clear slime textures. I've reviewed like since yesterday 10 slimes, and I was so surprised with this one. It's so beautiful. It fogs up quickly and it's not too stretchy, but it can be stretched slowly. And it's so thick, so definitely a thumbs up.
Wow, this is easy. I got you. So I had a customer. Notice I said customer, not client, because she can never come to me again after this. But anyways, I had a customer that came to her appointment with her 4-year-old son. My policy's no kids, but he was pretty calm, so I was like, whatever, I'll still do your nails. So while I'm prepping her nails, she's basically being very fidgety. She's looking at her phone like every 2 seconds. And then once I'm done prepping her nails, she stops me and she's like, "Can I go downstairs and get my wallet? I left it in my car and I'd rather get it now than wait till you're done with my nails." I was like, okay, that's fine. So when she goes to her car, she leaves her son with me. So I would say about literally 25 minutes past, I'm up there with her son and she's still not back. So I go outside, she's gone.
Story time of how my daughter almost died. So my daughter never sneaks out or anything like that. She's a good kid and I trust her. This one day she asked to go out on a group study project at nighttime and I said yes. She left around 7 p.m. and it got kind of late. So naturally I started to worry. At 10 p.m. I was about to text her because I had this gut feeling that something was wrong. But I didn't want to be one of those annoying moms who doesn't let her kids live or even study late. So I was apprehensive, but I forced myself to do something else to pass the time. Time passed really quickly, and it was 11 p.m. Then the clock strikes midnight. I kind of panicked because she's never been out that late without me, and she was with some other kids I didn't even know. I texted her asking her to come home, and she responded 15 minutes later. She was like, I'm fine, I'm coming, but it's with excessive caps and emojis and abbreviations and LOLs, and I know my daughter doesn't text like that. I felt like a crazy paranoid person at that point, so I closed my eyes and fell asleep before I knew it. I woke up, an hour had passed. Now it's 1 a.m. and I don't know where my daughter is. Text her one more time, but it says this caller is not available or something like that. I panic and press the buttons 911 on my phone.
Biological brother, same mom, same dad. So a little background information. My mom passed away when I was 2. My dad is currently in jail and I live with my grandma. So at the time I was 14, about to be 15. He was 17, about to be 18. So how this all started is one day I was at the baseball game with my friends and he happened to be there. I was fangirling over this boy. Like, I saw him and I was like, I'm going to marry him one day. I was feeling a little bold, so I went over and got his snap. And then I figured out that he had the same last name as me and I was like, dude, that is dope. My exact words were, now I don't have to change my last name when we get married. So we hung out the rest of the baseball game and I was starting to fall in love with this kid. Like, his smile, his laugh, I talked about him to my friends the rest of the night. And me and him started snapping for a while. So we started to hang out a lot. We may have hooked up a couple times. But I had to keep this all a secret from my grandma because she forbid I dated somebody. So fast forward a couple weeks, we start dating. Months and months and months go by. Our 9 months come and I finally tell my grandma. And this is where it gets bad. I'm running out of time, like, for dating my own brother. Continuing on with the story, me and his 9 months were coming up. Also, he was adopted and his foster family absolutely adored me, so they were okay with me keeping it a secret from my grandma. They were the ones to help me tell her. So not only were our 9 months coming up, but his birthday was the next day. And he told me the only thing that he wanted for his birthday was for my part of the family to know that we were together. So one day I sat down at the table and I was like, hey, I think it's about time that I tell you. And then I told her everything and she asked for a picture. I showed her a picture and she was like, oh, he's cute. How old is he? At first she was okay with everything and the age difference she was kind of iffy about, but then she accepted it. Then she asked his name. I told her his name, she said last name, gave her the last name, and she flipped out. She took my phone, didn't give me an explanation, and told me that if I ever spoke to him again, I would never be allowed out of the house. Finally, after she calmed down, she came to tell me that he was my brother. She asked if we had did anything, and I of course said no, but yeah.
Over just to flirt with me. Part 2. So he stared at me at Wawa, waited for me to leave, and when I left, he pulled me over. Like I said, there was nothing wrong with my car. Also, I was 17 and he was probably in his late 20s. And yeah, he was attractive, but I was 17 and not interested in a 20-something-year-old. So he walks over to my car, but he didn't come up to my window, he came up to my passenger